Yes, what is up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast, episode 232. I am not your host, Josh Kirby. I am once again your favorite three-time. We are on the road to 1,000 days PickEm champion, Carlos the Swiss Army Knife Martinez. We have a jam-packed episode for you guys today, but before we do anything else, I would like to thank our sponsors. Frederick County Parks and Recreation is the title sponsor of the Kirby on Sports podcast. PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett Pest and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, Shenandoah Music, Icon Media, On the Road Driving School, New Look Landscaping, The Cider House, Barry Pearson at Equipment Share Advanced Solutions. For any equipment rental needs, please contact Barry Pearson at 540-935-1069. And of course, Don't Sleep Energy is the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Use promo code KOS podcast for 12% off your order every single time. And you can get it on Amazon and at their website, www.don'tsleepenergy.com. Without any further ado, let's start the show.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Josh Kirby. I believe in Josh Kirby. Brazil, Dublin, London, and Paris, and Tokyo, America, Scotland, and Canada, and Mexico. They say, I believe in Josh Kirby. I believe in Josh Kirby.
Welcome back. We are here, episode 232, but I am not alone. We do not have the four-time losing stooge with us, but we do have the one-time OG, my esteemed co-host, the Josh Allen to my Patrick Mahomes, Dan the Weapon Dembski. Dan, what's going on, dude?
I'm doing well, man. That's a hell of an intro. I don't know if I could follow that up, but I'm glad to be the Josh Allen to your Patrick Mahomes. Maybe not this past week. But I mean, most of the time, yeah, I like being the number two for sure.
Well, you got some work to do. We'll talk about that during the Pick'em segment. You got some work to do for sure.
Yes, I do.
Not a great week for you. It was a great week until Monday night. Monday night was brutal for me.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's just everybody can tell Kirby's not here. He is off doing something else, Kirby things. Sometimes we don't know what he's doing, but he left it in our hands to run the show, and that's why I played the theme song, because it's my show this week.
Good. It is so good.
It's okay. Well, he's gonna get upset about that one, but oh well, he'll get over it. All right, let's get it started then, Dan. Obviously, it was a crazy week of football this past weekend. You weren't here the previous weekend where we had a bunch of upsets. This week was more so kind of a continuation of things. But obviously the biggest news that came out is Brian Callahan has been fired as the Tennessee Titans head coach. Yep. First coach fired, correct? Yeah, because
first coach fired.
Well, I guess if you want to count college, James Franklin getting fired at Penn State, which was a long time coming. But
and around the same time, though, I think
he got fired Saturday. Callahan got fired Monday.
You're right.
So any thoughts? What do you think? Was this a good fire? Me personally, I think it was. I think he wasn't very great as a coach, but also in fairness, the Tennessee Titans are just a hot mess ever since Vrabel left.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that point. I think any coach who was going to come in at this point with Tennessee was going to have a tough time and probably was not going to last very long. And some guys just aren't made to coach in the National Football League, aren't made to be head coaches, I should say, in the National Football League. And Brian Callahan could just be another one of those thousands of stories where he was a great coordinator and everything he did previously. Obviously, he, I think, earned fairly the head coaching job with the Titans. But yeah, you said it. Sometimes it's just not meant to be. And I think he inherited a really bad situation and not a good football team. And obviously, a young quarterback who's still trying to find his way in the NFL. It's very hard for a young head coach and a young quarterback a lot of times to make it work and to turn around a team that was been one of the worst in the NFL the last couple of seasons. So, yeah, I think the writing was kind of on the wall here. They gave him 23 games, and he was 4-19 over those 23 games, which is just not cutting it, whichever way you look at it. So, I think the Titans made the right move in letting him go. I wouldn't want that job, in my opinion. It's not a hot commodity right now as far as a good situation is concerned. So the next coach who comes in there is really going to be in that cleanup sort of change the culture, flip the narrative type of role, which is very tough to answer to. So tough position to be in. I think the Titans had to move on from Brian Callahan, and yeah, it's just a bad situation all around. And I think he also probably knew that he was on the chopping block, and he was his days were numbered there. So it's unfortunate, but it's just the nature of the NFL. It's the nature of the business.
Yeah, I mean, you got this your number one pick, rookie quarterback Cam Ward, who is showing a lot of promise, I guess. But you want to, you need to set him up for success. And if you didn't think Brian Callahan was going to be the guy, then you needed to move on. Who replaces him? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the hard question. Yeah.
Matt Nagy's been thrown out there. Okay, if you guys want to take him off our hands, I'm not going to complain. I'm not really the biggest Nagy fan. I don't really
blame you.
I mean, look, we'll talk about the Chiefs in a little bit. I mean, the offense is starting to come together, but I don't know. Nagy as a head coach, we saw what he was like in Chicago. He had one good season, and then after that, it was just a nightmare. Maybe he learned from it.
Season, right?
Yes, where they had a very successful season.
They had a good playoff run that year.
No, that was the wild card.
Or the wild card, yeah.
So, but they had a good season. They were 12-4, if memory serves me right.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, if they want to go with Nagy, then go with Nagy. I don't necessarily know who else is really out there that would make a lot of sense for them.
Not a ton of guys out there right now in general.
Who really wants that Tennessee job right now? It's not a lucrative job. Yeah, you got Cam Ward, but what else is really around Cam Ward? I couldn't really tell you. And they got the new stadium opening up here within the next 2 seasons. I don't know if it's going to be next year. I think it's going to be 2 more years. I think next year Buffalo Stadium opens, and then the year after that, then Tennessee's new stadium is going to open.
Yeah, let me check because I think that's correct.
Yeah, because they're not doing like a farewell season to their old stadium just yet. Like this is the farewell season.
Yeah, February 2027. So you're right. It'll open up. Yeah. So it'll open up.
No, wait. Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna go through this season, then we're gonna go through all the next season, and then the following season. So then it'll be ready in 2027.
Correct.
So,
My brain was not ready for that. For some reason.
Yeah, as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think the Titans' job is very lucrative just because of the turmoil that's been around there ever since Vrabel left, and then the whole A.J. Brown thing, and then just the constant failures as a franchise that this team has had. Yeah, I think this is the right choice by the Titans, but now they have to get this right because, again, you have a young quarterback. You want to develop him. If you really think he's going to be the guy who's going to bring you success in the future, you have to pick the right coach for him now, because if you mess this up, Cam Ward's going to be a bust.
Yeah, his career could be in jeopardy for sure. Yeah, it's a messy situation right now. And we'll see, what kind of will he have a say in who the head coach is? That's the one thing I'll be interested to see, because most quarterbacks, I would say most quarterbacks don't have a say unless they're like
not as young as he is.
Unless
not
they're a franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
right?
he's a rookie, so he's the franchise guy, but he's a rookie,
but he
so
hasn't
it's like
won. Yeah, he hasn't a reputation just yet.
He doesn't have that pull yet. Not like like Rodgers used to have, you know.
Right.
So,
interesting.
Now let's see how long it takes for Mike McDaniel to lose his job. I think he's next on the chopping block.
It's totally nuts that he still has a job with each passing week. But
Yep.
Anyway,
so some big injury news. Obviously, Fred Warner, he's done for the season. Shattered his ankle essentially. Huge loss for the 49ers, who are already struggling with Purdy not playing
with injuries. Yeah,
you know, Ayuk's not playing, George Kittle's not playing, and then you already lost Bosa for the season, and now you lose Fred Warner. It seems like the season from hell is continuing from last year into this year, where everybody kind of had the 49ers as one of the top teams. They're competing with you guys, with the Ravens, for season from hell, but at least with you guys, you know some of your top guys are coming back, whereas the top guys on the 49ers aren't coming back this season. Also, Garrett Wilson did avoid like anything serious in his knee. It's still a hyperextended knee, and he didn't practice today from what I read. But the Jets aren't rolling him out just yet. I think they want to wait and see. I don't think he's playing this week. And there's other injury concerns, but those are the two big ones from this past week, I believe, unless there's another one I'm missing. Dan, what do you think about Fred Warner and, Garrett Wilson surviving, what looked like was going to be a pretty bad knee injury?
Yeah, I'll say, for the 49ers, I think you said it off the top. This is another season from hell for them with all the injuries, and they've weathered pretty well considering the injuries they've had so far this season. Obviously, they lost this past Sunday, but overall, I've been impressed with how they've been able to sort of play without those guys. And but as you mentioned, obviously missing that many key pieces, like they're going to be missing for the rest of the season, especially Fred Warner. That's a huge loss for this defense. That I think the 49ers defense has always been pretty good. So. And we all know that Fred Warner has kind of led that defense, the last, 5-6 seasons, whatever it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tough to lose that presence, that guy who sort of knows your defense well, who plays the position that Fred Warner does, which is such a crucial position on defense in the National Football League. So I think it's a big loss for the Niners. I'm definitely concerned for their defense, not just losing him as the player, but like I said, the leader of the defense and the guy who's making all the calls and the adjustments on the field as well. That's a hard role to take over, and I think that's an understated role as well on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you got to feel for the Niners. They've really been going through it now, starting the second year in a row with all these injuries they've had. Hopefully, they can continue to weather the storm. Like I said, I think they've done a pretty good job to this point to do that. And then, for Garrett Wilson, really, really good news that his injury is not as serious as we thought. I wouldn't be surprised if he is ruled out, just because anything involving, you said it's a hyperextended knee. So,
and I believe they're back at MetLife this week. So,
yeah, let me check real quick.
I wouldn't risk that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't risk playing on that turf.
Yeah, and they're hosting the Panthers. I mean, it's not.
They're 0-6 as it is, so right, it's like, why are you risking yourself? Make a business decision here.
Yeah, that's my thing. Don't rush them back. There's no need to do it. It's not like this is week 16 or 17 and they're fighting for a playoff spot. They're just trying not to get the number 1 overall pick, which right now they're well on their way to doing. But I think that's just my overall take. Garrett Wilson's a great player. I think the Jets will take their time in bringing him back, just like I said, because of the fact that it's not the end of the season. They're not competing for a playoff spot or a number 1 seed or anything like that, where they would need him like immediately. So I would just say for them, like, don't rush him back. It's not necessary, and hopefully he can stay healthy the rest of the season. Because anytime you have that type of injury, there's always a good chance you could re-aggravate it, especially like you said, on the famous MetLife turf that has been unforgiving for so many guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, just hopefully he can stay healthy, and we'll see what happens later on this season with Garrett Wilson. But great player. Glad his injury's not as serious, and it seems like we have one or two guys every week that we have to talk about as done for the season because of these types of injuries. So it's good we don't have to add too many guys to that list this week.
Yeah, it seems like the only big one this week was Fred Warner. All right, I'm going to throw this one in here. I didn't tell you about this one in our pre-show meeting. Jerry Jones says he's sticking with Matt Eberflus. The Dallas defense got completely shredded by Rico Dowdle.
They did.
He warned them ahead of time that he was going to do it to them, and that was the most abysmal defensive performance I've seen by a Dallas defense since 2020. I want to say it was the last time. Jerry Jones, of course, went on the radio this past, I think it was yesterday. No, was it today? It was yesterday. And said that he is sticking with Matt Eberflus and that Matt Eberflus is a guy that he wants to be with him if he's in a foxhole. Dan, what do you think? If you were the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, would you fire Matt Eberflus? Because I would have fired Matt Eberflus a long time ago. But Jerry Jones, as per usual, is old and senile and can't see that it's not working. So what are your thoughts on Jerry Jones saying that Matt Eberflus is his guy?
Yeah, I just wonder how much dirt Matt Eberflus has on Jerry Jones that, makes him not want to fire him. It's a very odd situation. I don't know. I don't quite understand the thinking from Jerry Jones to keep Matt Eberflus right now. Maybe the market is just not very good right now for defensive coordinators. I don't really know who's out there who you could pick up. We're at a point in the season now where, we are 6 games in, and maybe Jerry Jones is going to wait this out a little bit longer. I don't really know. I mean, Dallas's defense has had some really, really bad performances so far this year.
Actually, every game's been a bad performance.
Pretty much. And I just don't understand it. I'm just confused by it. And obviously, if I was the owner, I would have made a decision by now. I mean, this is a guy that not only has coordinator experience, he's been a head coach, shouldn't have been, in the National Football League. He's not new to this, right? He's used to I shouldn't say he's used to getting fired. He's kind of used to getting fired. He's been there and done that, right?
I just don't understand why they went with him. I remember when we started the season and we were kind of looking at it, we were surprised. We didn't even realize that Matt Eberflus because obviously we don't talk about the Cowboys that much on this podcast anymore because I have, rescinded my fanhood from them. And there was a reason why, and it's for decisions like this. My life has been so much less stressful ever since I dropped the Cowboys, and I don't see them as my favorite team anymore because of incompetent decisions like this. Why would you keep Matt Eberflus when you see consistently this defense has looked worse than it has ever looked? I understand nobody's ever going to really replace Dan Quinn and what he did with this defense. That was something special. And the fact that the Cowboys never won anything significant under that regime of, Kellen Moore, Dan Quinn, Mike McCarthy, Dan Quinn, all that stuff, right? The fact that they didn't win anything meaningful is still crazy to me.
Yeah.
And the fact that right now the offense, because that's the thing, Dallas didn't lose that game because of the offense. The offense did its job.
Played really well. Yeah,
and Dak Prescott is playing at such a crazy level. George Pickens, who I had a lot of doubts about coming into the season just because of his attitude issues in Pittsburgh. He has been a phenomenal player. He's been a phenomenal teammate. And he's been on the straight and narrow. He has really turned it around. And he is playing incredible. He is the first wide receiver since Michael Irvin for the Cowboys to have 6 touchdowns in the first 6 games. Whew. That's crazy work. He is playing at such an elite level, and they are wasting this great season by Dak Prescott, wasting this great season by George Pickens, and of course they're waiting for CeeDee Lamb to come back from his high ankle sprain. They're wasting this great offense because they are playing this horrible defensive scheme in which My God, those whole it was like parting the damn Red Sea in that game. Like Rico Dowdle was just running roughshod all over that Dallas defense. I mean, it's embarrassing, and that's not the first one. I mean, you look at the Dallas Cowboys defensive performance; they've let teams score over and over on them, and they can't stop a stop sign. Like, it's brutal. And to me, it's just sometimes Jerry Jones really needs to learn to shut his mouth, especially at this point, bro.
He gets
like
in the way. He's their biggest and own worst enemy.
Like again, the Dallas Cowboys will not succeed until Jerry Jones,
100% agree.
Because he can't, and he self-admitted his best days are behind him. And at this point, I just don't know how competent he is to be able to ever have Dallas win a Super Bowl, because he sees that defense, and for some reason, as the salesman that he is, wants to try to turn it and make the Dallas Cowboys fans believe. And I just really feel like it's different. It's ever since last season, the Cowboys fans are done buying the BS and aren't really following for it anymore.
Yeah, I just don't understand. It's like Jerry has this innate ability to just ignore everyone but himself. Like what he believes in, his intuition is the only thing that matters, and the rest of the team, or the rest of what the fans think, what other experts think, what anybody thinks pretty much, is all a bunch of BS. And it's just amazing to me that a person can have such a lack of self-awareness and a lack.
He's a narcissist, dude. He's a narcissist. I mean, he fired
capital N narcissist. Absolutely.
He fired Jimmy Johnson because he didn't like that Jimmy Johnson was getting the credit for the dynasty.
It all started 31 years ago.
Yeah, and it's insane. It's insane.
It's unfortunate because I think these fans deserve better. I think they've deserved better for a long time. I will say it is funny to see how much social media gives them a hard time, because that is enjoyable for me. And I think a lot of people. But also, I think these fans deserve it, and honestly, they deserve to have someone else's opinion matter than Jerry Jones's, because his opinion is always pretty much
wrong.
A
general manager. They need a general manager who knows what they're doing, man.
Simple as that.
He just won't let it happen. He won't get out of the way. He needs to be in the limelight. He needs to get the credit, and that's why the Cowboys will never succeed.
He needs to put the ego aside, but unfortunately,
he won't.
It's never going to happen.
He won't.
Never going to happen. Yeah.
All right. So, final piece of news: we're having some interesting outcomes so far. Dan, who should be more concerned? The Philadelphia Eagles, who are on a 2-game losing streak, obviously losing to the Denver Broncos on Sunday, and then losing to the New York Giants on Thursday. It was a short week, so maybe you can write that excuse, but also they just haven't looked that great. Or should it be the Buffalo Bills, who lost to the Patriots on Sunday Night Football last week? Or not last week, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And then lost on Monday night to the Atlanta Falcons. Who do you think should be more concerned with where they are? Obviously, there's injuries that are playing part. I think that the Buffalo Bills have more impactful injuries than, say, the Eagles. But in your estimation, who should be more concerned? Should it be Buffalo or should it be Philly?
I'm going to say Philly right now. I think they need to be more concerned. And to me, I feel like their offense cannot find their identity for whatever reason, which is funny to me because they have one of the most talented offenses if you look at this roster. And it's pretty much the same roster as last year. Not much has changed. A couple differences here and there. But right now I'm more concerned with the Eagles because they can't seem to find who they are. And they've had to rely on the tush-push this season for big first downs, for touchdowns, more than they ever have in the past, right? Like this was a play that we saw in the past, maybe once a game, right? Maybe to close out a game on a 4th and short.
We would see it a few times, but not the way they've been relying on it this season.
They're running it at least what seems like 4 or 5 times a game, which is very alarming to me, which means they don't know what their identity is as an offense. And I've been concerned with how Jalen Hurts has played too. He didn't have a bad game necessarily on Thursday night, but he hasn't really set the world on fire either. And this team to me they look kind of flat right now. Now I think the good thing for both these teams is we're not to the halfway point yet, so there's still plenty of time for them to right the ship. I think especially for the Eagles, we know that they can get it going. I think they have the personnel, they have the ability to do so. But I think that I'm more concerned with the Eagles simply because their offense doesn't have much of an identity right now, and I think defensively too. I mean, they've really, really struggled in this game against the Giants. Cam Scadaboo was just destroying them. So I have concerns for their defense as well. They just can't seem to make the big stop, to make the big play like they had, like they did most of last year when they needed to. So,
but you do have defensively, I can understand because a lot of the guys that a lot of guys moved on. They lost
a lot of players on defense, right?
It was something like 7 out of the 11 starters in the Super Bowl moved on, and their secondary is not great.
It's hard to replace.
And then also Jalen Carter did not play because of he does not trust that MetLife turf, which I don't blame him. He didn't want to risk himself. It was a big reason why he didn't play, apparently. At least that's things that I've heard. I would say yes. I would think as the Eagles, I would be more concerned. I think with Buffalo, I think it's more so they don't have Matt Milano playing, on defense. So that's why their defense is a little rocky right now, but they got guys coming back later on in the season. Whereas the Eagles have their people. There's not really any major injuries. They're not missing a key piece. They still have Saquon. They still have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. But Jalen Hurts just has not been playing at the level that people are expecting him to play at. Again, like I've been saying, he was put on this, that he needs to be put on, if not in the same tier as Lamar, Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes. He needs to be put on that tier under it. But so far this season, he hasn't lived up to that kind of expectations that have been put on him. I don't 100% put it on Jalen Hurts. I also put it on their offensive coordinator. He's a first-time offensive coordinator.
Good.
He was there last season, but of course he's never play called before, and it just doesn't seem like he knows how to use all these weapons that he has. Like you said, a spam buttoning that tush push 4 times in a row to get a touchdown. That's disgusting. That's despicable.
Yep.
And that, he's going to be the reason why the tush push is going to get banned next season. Yeah, I think my concern would be with the Eagles because, like I put it on the last episode, the year after the Eagles go to the Super Bowl, whether they win or lose, is always a rough season. Case in point, so far this year, they just have these weird funks that they get into. They have a Super Bowl hangover, and it takes them about a year to get out of it. We saw it. We were seeing it right now after Super Bowl 57, where they lost to the Chiefs. They started out 9-1 and then epically collapsed.
Good point.
The 2018 season, I believe it was, after they lost or after they beat the Patriots, they had a really rough season after they won the Super Bowl, and they were a wild card team, and they had to go on the road. And yeah, they beat the Chicago Bears that year. But they didn't get back to the Super Bowl, and it wasn't a very good season. And that was mostly because it was like, is it Carson Wentz? Is it Nick Foles? Carson got hurt again, so Foles ended up playing there at the end of the season, got him in the playoffs and won the playoff game. It's just a constant trend with this franchise recently that whenever they get to the Super Bowl, the expectations become too much and they kind of fall apart. And I think it was a mistake by Sirianni to promote from within again, because that's what happened when Shane Steichen left and went to Indianapolis. They promoted the guy from within. He sucked. Then they go out and get Kellen Moore, right? A guy from the outside. Kellen Moore obviously gets the head coaching job in New Orleans. They bring this guy up. I don't even know this guy's name. I keep forgetting his name. Promote from within. He's not been great. Nick Sirianni's not great at picking replacements, it feels like, because I'm pretty sure Kellen Moore was not a Nick Sirianni choice, if memory serves me right.
Right, I think that's correct.
So
it's Kevin Patullo.
Yeah, that's what it is. Patullo. Kevin Patullo. Yeah, Kevin Patullo. Yeah, I just think that I just don't think he knows what he's doing. And people keep pointing out that, yeah, like the Eagles were at this point last season, 4-2. They weren't looking good. The numbers kind of correlate, but it was different because last year they were riding Saquon and they rode Saquon all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Saquon's not playing great right now. He's tracking to have just a 900-yard season. That's like not even half of what he put up last year. No, like that's bad. So the Eagles have a lot to figure out, I think, more so than the Bills. I think the Bills, it's more so they got to get some pieces back. And they do kind of have to get back into this kind of killer mentality, if you get what I mean. I feel like they kind of
started the season with.
Yeah, well, even at the start of the season, I think, they're the September champs. They always start the season out decent, and everybody's like, oh my God, it's the Bills. And then October comes, and then this is when things start to kind of fall apart.
Exactly how
and then they bounce back, and then they come in, all just to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. But that's besides the point. But yeah, I think Buffalo will be okay. I think Josh Allen will get it together because we've seen him do it before.
Right.
We've seen the Bills do this.
Right.
We have not seen that from Philly before. We've seen this film before, and we know how it ends. It's just gonna be a otherworldly funk that they get into. So
yeah, and every win has been like a nail biter for the Eagles as well.
They've been doing what the Chiefs did last year, where the Chiefs won, but the difference being is the Chiefs made the plays to win.
Right.
The Eagles have not been making the plays to win.
Yeah. And I'll say too, for Buffalo, their schedule after the bye this week is pretty favorable down the stretch as well. So luckily for them, they do play Kansas City, as we know.
Yeah, but they always beat us in the regular season, so I kind of always chalk that up as a win for them.
Right. And they play Pittsburgh, but outside of that, like, I don't really see any other.
Well, they got to play New England again at New England. We saw New England give them a lot of troubles. And Drake May looked good this past week.
I could see that being a fluke, though, right? I mean, I could see the Bills taking.
I could see the Bills winning. Like, I could see them winning and still winning the division and stuff. But what I'm saying is, it's not going to be an easy game, that game. So they still got about 3 tough games. But then aside from that, like,
I don't have
it's smooth sailing for them. Yeah,
there's not a ton on there, so I'm less concerned with them. And like you said, the injuries, getting guys back, having the bye week like right now is extremely helpful to have that second half push of the season. That we know the Bills. This is where the Bills are at their best. Yeah, I hope Philly can turn it around. I don't. I can't quite put my finger on all the issues, but there's definitely a lot of them.
But that's the thing. It's not one issue. It's multiple. It's death by 1,000 cuts for them right now.
Exactly. Those losing all those defensive starters, I'd completely forgotten about that. That's a good point why their defense has struggled so much. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think I'd much rather be a Bills fan right now for sure. And
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So. All right, cool. So with that, that's the NFL headlines. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to go ahead and talk about your sorry Ravens. So stand by, and we'll be right back.
For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com.
Welcome back to episode 232 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. I am your three-time Pick'em champion and host for this episode, Carlos the Swiss Army Knife Martinez, along with my esteemed co-host, the Josh Allen to my Patrick Mahomes.
There it is.
Dan, the Weapon Dembski.
What's up?
All right, Dan, let's get into it. Ravens. So you got the Rams 17, Ravens 3. It wasn't necessarily a blowout, but it definitely should have been even bigger. But the Rams seem to have had mercy on you guys. Give us your thoughts. Obviously, lots of injuries. We didn't really talk about the Ravens last week, but this week was pretty brutal, and you were pretty down on this team after Sunday.
Yeah, it's a situation right now where nothing is good enough in any phase of this team's game recently. I'll start defensively. I thought the defense actually played a lot better on Sunday than they have previously. Obviously only surrendering 17 points, only 3 points in the first half, which was really good to see. But unfortunately it wasn't enough because once again, our offense struggled mightily. Cooper Rush is just, he's just not the guy.
He's just not it, man.
As simple as that.
Some great seasons in Dallas, but it made no sense why he's the backup to Lamar Jackson. He plays nothing like Lamar.
No. And 3 turnovers, obviously, on offense. I think 2 picks and a fumble. I think that's correct.
Yeah, he ended up getting benched.
And he got benched for Tyler Huntley finally in the fourth quarter. It should have happened much sooner in the game, but it didn't. And actually, we started to move the ball a little bit with Tyler Huntley, so hopefully moving forward, he'll be the backup quarterback, but I don't know. But yeah, this was just another sloppy game. Offensively, again, too many penalties, too many pre-snap penalties, too many penalties putting them behind the sticks when they would get a positive play or positive momentum, especially there in the first half when it seemed like they were starting to move the football. And yeah, it's just nothing is good right now. I will say Derrick Henry finally had a really solid game. They ran him like 24 times, which was good to see, and it was good to see him finally have another performance like he did early on in the season.
Yeah, 24 runs, 122 yards, and he was averaging 5.1 yards a play.
Yeah. And again, the offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, seemed to, again, get away from Derrick Henry when we needed him to because, again, he put the ball in Cooper Rush's hands, I think, too many times, and he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be able to bail you out like he did when he was the starter early on this season.
I mean, this stat line is disgusting to look at. 11 for 19, 72 yards passing, and 1 interception.
72 yards passing.
72 yards passing is absolutely disgusting.
That is despicable. Yeah. And then their troubles in the red zone. I'm going to talk about at the end of the half. Obviously, the disaster that was the Ravens' 2-minute offense and the disaster that was the goal line. The red zone offensive play calling, which led to Mark Henry. Jeez, not the world's strongest man.
No.
Where Derrick Henry basically gets sidelined and Mark Andrews, they try running the tush push twice, the Ravens version of the tush push, which is called the weakness. I think that's what I call it. It's not very good. I'll work on it.
The weakness? I'm not understanding.
There's nothing to understand. It was just a thought. Anyway, they try running that twice, and obviously get stuffed. And they run out of time. They used the timeout to call that last play. Actually, I think the last play was a run to Derrick Henry, which ended up getting stuffed as well. A disaster where they could have at least gotten 3 points, gone into halftime up 6-3. Instead, they get nothing. And that to me was the moment when I said that this game's over. I knew it was a tied game at that point. The Rams really offensively did not have a strong first half, and that is due partially to the Ravens defense, but also the Rams I felt like had too many drops and too many mistakes early on in this game, which they corrected in the second half. But that was kind of just the story for this game, is the mistakes. We couldn't get out of our own way on offense. And again, it just goes to show how important Lamar Jackson is to this football team, how good he can make this team look when really right now the product – Hi, Chiefy. He's excited.
He's always got to make his appearance.
I love how he just comes over and looks at you. Well, the product on the field right now is not good enough at all. It just goes to show you how he was like the Lamborghini sitting in the trailer park. That's a bad example, but you know the meme. You've seen the picture before of the supercar sitting next to the trailer. But that's kind of what it feels like right now. And look, I know this team was struggling with Lamar Jackson as quarterback as well, but man, at least for the most part, I get minus obviously the game against Kansas City. He was giving us and Detroit. It was another bad game. But he was giving us a pretty good chance to win. And I don't think there are no easy solutions right now for this team. I think this bye week is perfectly timed. Again, I like how our defense played on Sunday. I hope they can continue to play that way. I think the problem I see is all of the cracks and all the injuries in this defense are just going to continue to show until they start to get some of those pieces back, especially in the secondary, which is missing a ton of guys right now. Having Kyle Hamilton sort of play back down in the box was a little more helpful on Sunday, his more natural position than playing, obviously, the deep position of a free safety. Was kind of helpful for them. But quite frankly, this team's not going to improve until they get some of those guys back. And until they, again, another team that I think has kind of lost their identity is the Ravens this year. They're the epitome of that, in my opinion, in the National Football League. They don't know who they are right now. And once again, as I've said the last couple of weeks, or I guess 2 weeks ago, technically, I just don't think John Harbaugh is the guy anymore. He doesn't seem to have the answers. He doesn't seem to make any adjustments, from first half to second half or from game to game, really, quite frankly. There doesn't seem to be a lot done from his end where I could say, yeah, he's doing the best he can to put the best product on the field for this team. It's just not there, man. It's not there at all right now for this team, and it's frustrating. Again, preseason, a lot of people picked us to make a run to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a hard road to make the playoffs. We're really going to have to go on a historic run to even get into the postseason.
It's not. I don't think it's that out of the question. So here's the thing. The schedule is very favorable.
Very favorable.
Post bye week, and Lamar will be back post bye week. So correct. You guys are on bye this week. Come back and play the Bears here at in Baltimore. Play the Bears. You should be able to handle the Bears. Should be able to, but you just never know, right? The Bears are a feisty team. You go to Miami to play Miami. That should be a win. Miami sucks. You go to Minnesota. That one's going to be a little more difficult. That's maybe you can chuck that up. Okay, so then you're at that point. Let's say you guys beat the Bears. You guys beat Miami. You guys are 3-6 at this point. Okay, it's still a little. It's still a big hole to dig yourself out of. But then you got the Browns win, the Jets win, the Bengals playing Joe Flacco again win. Okay, so that's 4 straight wins right there. You're 7-6 at this point. You play the Steelers in Baltimore. I think in Baltimore, you guys should beat them. It just depends. I don't know. That's a toss-up game, right? Where's Aaron Rodgers at that point? All this stuff. So that one's a toss-up. Then you play the Bengals again. I don't understand that whole notion of, because it's the Eagles and Giants are doing the same thing too.
Twice
where,
in
like,
3 weeks.
Yeah, twice. Like, dude,
sense.
Spread it out. Like, why are we playing this
it.
team twice? But another win, right? Because again, the Bengals absolutely stink. Okay, so at that point, maybe you're what, 8-7 at that point? 8-7. Patriots, Packers, Steelers to close the season. It gets a little dicey, right? So you guys have to beat the Steelers at least once. You have to beat them there. And you guys have to probably beat the Vikings, because the Patriots aren't. The Patriots game is in Baltimore, so it's winnable. It's winnable. The Packers game is at Green Bay in December. I might have to give that one to Green Bay. And then the Steelers game is at Pittsburgh, week 18. Who knows where things are at that point? Do the Steelers need to play their starters? Do they not? That's the question. It's possible, but it's also like, even though like the middle part is much easier, that ending, that little 3-game stretch between the Patriots, the Packers, and the Steelers, that's going to be what makes or breaks this team. Because I think they'll go on a run here. Yeah. I do, but I don't. It's those 3 games right there. What's like, you guys kind of screwed the pooch by losing all these games at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did. And it's just hard because, like, right now it's hard for me to see us beating anyone, quite frankly, because we have not played well enough to beat, I don't think, any team in the NFL right now, quite frankly. So
maybe the Jets. At least you guys didn't have -10 passing yards.
If I was a Jets fan, man, I'd be changing my fandom right about now.
What a miserable existence.
It really is a miserable existence for them. I can't even imagine.
I don't know who like willingly becomes a Jets fan.
Someone who likes pain, who wants to get used to pain, I guess.
I guess.
But yeah, I think we'll see what happens. I just I'm so distraught right now, just trying to think of teams we could beat, and I couldn't come up with many. But obviously, seeing our schedule, it is favorable if we get healthy, if we're able to get things sorted out. The offensive line is something that really has to be fixed, and it has to be addressed like immediately.
I saw some very concerning film.
It's bad. We got 2 guys who just simply don't block. They just don't block. They get dominated, and that happened a lot in this game. And I think it's part of the reason why, a big reason why Cooper Rush played so poorly. But
well, actually, surprisingly, Cooper Rush didn't even take a sack. Huntley got sacked 4 times.
Well, he was trying to do too much and run around. I think he got sacked twice trying to run around at least. So there's just a ton of issues with this team, and this is maybe the most important bye week they've had in quite a long time. Because usually at this point, when we're talking about the Ravens bye week, we're saying, they're clicking on all cylinders. They just keep it rolling, and I think historically, a John Harbaugh coach team is pretty good coming out of the bye. Obviously, we talked before about your Chiefs, and Andy Reid coming out of a bye is one of the best coaches ever coming out of a bye week. I think John Harbaugh is pretty good also, so hopefully they can get it sorted out. I mean, they're really going to have to come out.
I mean, they have to. They have
to come out against the Bears, and they have to win.
They come out,
and win emphatically. It can't.
I don't even think they have to win emphatically. They just have to pull out a win at this point, because a win, because again, this isn't college football. There's no style points here, right? A win is a win, no matter how whether it's by a point or 100 points.
That's fair enough.
So to me, it's like, hey, just get the W here. You have to win here. We are 1-5. We can't go to 1-6 and then have Minnesota still on the docket. 2 games against Pittsburgh, again, 1 game against the Packers and 1 game against the Patriots. Like, that's we have to at least get to 7-6, 8-6 by the time we get to those teams to have 100%. Any possibility of getting to the playoffs.
100% agreed.
So
that's all I got.
I got nothing else.
I'm sad enough.
Look, it sucks, man. Like, it really does suck. Like, again, I'm a Chiefs fan. and I did love kicking your guys' ass, but like it does suck when we can't look forward to going to a Ravens game because the team's not good, you know? And it sucks because this was shaping out to be the perfect time for Lamar to ascend, to finally get his Super Bowl. And, you know, I can understand the disappointment in Ravens fans, to a lesser degree, Bills fans, because, you know, it felt like this was probably the chance. And then you see Kansas City surging. They're getting ready. It looks like they're going to be the top team again.
Yep.
Even though we're 3-3.
They never left, though, to be honest.
And then, you know, Buffalo's kind of faltering right now. And you guys had Buffalo beat. And it has since then it's just fallen apart. And yeah, you beat the Browns after that game, but it's the Browns. You should beat the Browns. But since then,
it's one win.
Yeah, it's one win compared to 5 losses, and one of those losses was an absolute embarrassment of a loss that you guys shouldn't have lost. So I can totally understand why you are beaten down and why it doesn't feel great, because, you know, it just sucks thinking that, like, hey, like, you know, we've had these good seasons. This is finally going to be the season we get over the hill, and it's just gone out. It's just gone out like this.
Well said. Well said, sir.
So, all right. Well, with that, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about my beloved Chiefs against the Detroit Lions on a banger of a Sunday night football game. Stay tuned.
Bedbugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bedbug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bedbugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
Hey there, Kirby on Sports Podcast fans. Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here for you. Remember, if you have any real estate needs, buying or selling, I'm your guy. I would love to help you out. And you can also find me on my own personal podcast, Iconic Talk, where you get a chance to learn about the local real estate market and why Winchester is an amazing place to live. Reach out to me anytime, 540-247-1527, and find Iconic Talk anywhere you get your podcasts.
All right, and welcome back. Here we go. Let's go ahead and talk about the premier team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously played Sunday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. We won 30-17. Kansas City Chiefs put 30 up for my 30th birthday. Let's go, baby. Yeah, look, I'll just go ahead and just get into my thoughts, and then Dan, I'll let you go ahead and tell yours. Hold on, I'm having some issues here. Yeah. So, yeah, obviously the Chiefs beat the Lions 30-17. It was an impressive performance. It didn't feel like it defensively that it was an impressive performance at the time, like during the game. But then when you like broke down the stats and kind of rewatched, you know, the film and see the scoreline, you're like, oh, you know, sure, it's not the same dominant defensive performance that we're used to seeing from the Chiefs here as of the last 2 seasons. But all in all, they did pretty good. You know, that first drive was super frustrating and concerning. It was a 10-minute first drive by the Detroit Lions to open the game. And in which we lucked out because Jared Goff catches that touchdown, and then it's an illegal formation because he never set. He kept moving, so they call it back. And then they get the delay of game, so they call it back again. Yeah. And then they kick the field goal instead. Obviously, I live streamed the game, so you guys can go back and see my reactions to everything and our beautiful, beautiful new score bug that we have for it. Good. But yeah, after that, I mean, the Chiefs come out and the offense just goes and scores in quick fashion. And that was my key takeaway. I was like, look, the problem with Detroit's offense is they're very methodical run first offense.
Yep.
and they like to beat you down and take time off the clock. They're not built to score quickly. Jamison Williams is their only real like speedster, whereas Amon-Ra St. Brown is not he's not that. He's like a possession guy. And obviously the Chiefs have, we're now 3-3. We're 500, which is perfect. This is exactly where we needed to be because now we got our main guy coming back in Rashee Rice, who's officially back in the building and allowed to, practice and play for the team this Sunday against the Raiders. I guess we should probably talk about it. The penalty situation, I guess, or lack thereof, since the Kansas City Chiefs accomplished the rare feat that has been accomplished.
The impossible feat.
the impossible feat, but the rare feat of it was a clean game, 0 penalties accepted, at least, because we did get a penalty, but it wasn't accepted.
Right.
So 0 penalties accepted, 0 turnovers, and only 1 punt. The Detroit Lions also didn't have a turnover at all. Not from lack of trying, though, because there was that fumble that Aiden Hutchinson had on Patrick Mahomes, but Mahomes was able to recover it. So we saved ourselves there. Look, offensively, I have nothing to complain about with the Chiefs right now. They're playing fantastic. Obviously, the Josh Simmons news came out about maybe 3 hours before kickoff. Or maybe it was sooner than that. I felt like it was a lot sooner than that. Comes out that he's not with the team, that he's going to be out for personal reasons. Still yet to find out what those reasons are. It'll come out in time, I imagine. Jalen Moore was going to step in at left tackle. That had a lot of people concerned just because, it turns out literally Saturday night into Sunday morning, his wife was giving birth to the 3rd child. So, I'm pretty sure he didn't get a lot of sleep. He wasn't necessarily very prepared for this game. Not thinking that he was going to start because it seemed like this came out of nowhere, because even Patrick Mahomes said in his post-game press conference, I came to the, to the walkthrough with the team, and Josh wasn't here. And I asked where he was, and nobody knew what was going on. So it seems like it just happened out of nowhere that he left Kansas City. He was back home in San Diego. It seems like it was a family emergency from everything that we've gathered. We don't necessarily know what. I'm pretty sure he will reveal it himself in time. So I'm not necessarily concerned that it was something really about him. I think it was more, there's something going on that was more important than football, and that's fine. It's okay. Deal with what you need to deal with so that when you do come back, you are here, because that kid is super talented.
100%.
I'd rather him have his mind and conscience cleared and have that situation handled, whatever it is, than for him to come back here and be physically here, but not mentally here. And Jalen Moore had a phenomenal game.
He was great.
A great job. The beautiful thing is when you don't hear their name and they're not a problem. It's been the same thing with Juwan Taylor. Yeah. We haven't heard much about Juwan Taylor here lately. He has actually been playing out of his mind, surprisingly. And then, of course, Jalen Moore did such a good job protecting that left side. It wasn't like something like, he's going to be the new starter or whatever, but he did such a great job given the circumstances. And it gave Mahomes all the time he needed to just dish the ball out. And with the depleted secondary that the Lions had, which surprisingly, Patrick Mahomes was not attacking their secondary that much, actually attacking their linebackers a lot more, according to Next Gen Stats. He was, most of his pass attempts and stuff were primarily towards the middle of the field, attacking the Lions linebackers, not really attacking the outside, which was surprising to me because I thought he was going to be attacking the outside. And when I saw that stat, I was like, oh my God, what? The Chiefs have figured the offense out, and this offense is fun again. It's more enjoyable to watch than it was earlier in this season. And like I said, we're getting our big dog, Rashee Rice, back. So this Chiefs offense is going to be scary. The defense still gives me some concern. We're really struggling with getting pressure on the quarterback if we're not blitzing. The front four are just not winning quick. Chris Jones is obviously getting double teamed, so how much can you really do? And when he does win quick, these quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball fast, and not really letting him, make his impact plays that he's normally used to. And the secondary played better this game. And once again, the run defense has been elite. I mean, they held, Sonic and Knuckles, Jahmyr Gibbs, and David Montgomery from doing anything really like hurtful to us. So yeah, I overall very pleased. Went to woke up Sunday and it was still the Kansas City Chiefs. They're are they in trouble and all that stuff. Woke up Sunday to that. Watched the game. Woke up Monday morning. Mahomes is the MVP favorite, and the Kansas City Chiefs are now the Super Bowl champ or the Super Bowl favorites, despite the fact that
gotta love sports talk shows.
Oh yeah, despite the fact that if the playoffs started today, the Kansas City Chiefs wouldn't be in the playoffs, and we have the same record as the Carolina Panthers. We're somehow still these Super Bowl favorites, but once again, I mean, this is what I keep saying, man. Like, stop doubting the Chiefs. I understand, like, our season started off rough. But at the same time, at least us in Chiefs Kingdom, we knew. We were like, look, we just have to make it to this point. If we can get to this point at 3-3, we're so set. We're so set to go on a great run. And given how other things have panned out with the Bills kind of on a losing streak, and we're only one game out from the division with only Denver and the Chargers ahead of us, in which we still have 2 games against the Broncos and 1 against the Chargers. It's looking very favorable for the Kansas City Chiefs.
100%.
And yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. I'm happy. It was, again, it's so weird at the end of a game being comfortable and just like kind of like breathing and
the blood pressure's not going through the roof.
Yeah, because for the past few years, it's like every game has come down to the wire, especially last season. Last season, it was every game pretty much came down to the wire. And it was there's only a couple games there where we like had it done by the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter. We were good. This one, it was pretty evident that we were. Another person I'm having still concerns about is Harrison Butker. He misses another extra point, and so another missed kick. Of course, last week in Jacksonville, he kicks the ball out of bounds. It seems as if he's going back to his. So he had changed his kicking, like follow through and stance, because he used to kick and he would go down to his knee when he would kick. But it was starting to cause too much strain on him and injuries and stuff. So he had changed it to not necessarily go down to his knee. It seems like he's switched it up again and he's starting to sort of go down on his knee, but not really.
Like a hybrid. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see if that works, because after that missed kick, he did make every kick afterwards. And then he did make a field goal there at the end of the game to make it 30-17. So with that being said, Dan, what were your thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Detroit Lions, despite the fact that pretty much all of America thought Detroit was going to beat us?
Yeah, I think I think you said it all, first of all. I mean, I can't add too much detail to what you said, but I will say that this was just the kind of game that the Kansas City Chiefs needed. To have a game like this against a team last year in the Lions that, of course, we know made a deep playoff run, is probably one of the favorites again this season to do something similar. My voice. And like you said, Carlos, like this is a rare thing for Kansas City to have the game wrapped up with, I mean, it was 27-17 with 9.5 minutes to go in the fourth. So at that point, you're feeling pretty good about, you're up by 10 with less than 10 minutes to go. That's been a rare sight for obviously for Kansas City fans, and I think for NFL fans in general. But to me, this the summary of this to me is just that the Chiefs never went anywhere, right? They're still the Kansas City Chiefs, and people have tried to downplay.
It's just Chiefs fatigue.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to me. People are tired of talking about them, which I totally understand. We did the same thing with the Patriots all those years. We all got sick of talking about them, and so we did. And quietly, they continued to do what they had to do, and that's kind of what Kansas City's done. I've never doubted this team. I never thought that, I'm not one of those people that said that they're done for. And people who said that are obviously foolish because there's still a ton of football left. There's still, 11 games to go, and this team is right where they need to be right now. And like you said, for the most part, they still have most of their divisional, their games in their division lined up as well, to play rather.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. This year seems like there's like a lot more late season divisional games than usual.
It's weird because the Chargers have already played 3. They played us, they played the Raiders, and then they played the Broncos already. And then we've only played the Chargers. We have only played the Chargers, and obviously we're getting our second division game with the Raiders right now.
It's like the Ravens have only played the Browns, and anyway, that's another story.
It's weird. I don't know. The schedule makers just all over the map. All over the map this year.
Should GPT do it this year? I don't really know.
Wouldn't surprise me if they use AI.
Maybe that's why it's so wonky. But no, this just to sum it up, I think this is a game the Kansas City Chiefs needed. Mahomes and company have proven that nothing's changed. They're still the Kansas City Chiefs. They're still going to be right in the thick of things come December and January. And yeah, this was an important win for the Chiefs. They needed this kind of reassuring win against a quality opponent. They got that. The Lions, I'm not sure. I think I have some questions about them, especially offensively. Like you said, they are, in this era of the NFL where there's so many fast-paced offenses and teams that score quickly, the Lions just simply aren't that. They're not flashy in that respect. And part of me wonders if that's sustainable, like that, grind it down the field type of
if
thing.
They get out, they're front runners, right? If they get out in front, then they're fine, right? So say that's why they wanted the ball first against Kansas City, because they wanted to get out front first and they wanted to lead the game. If they get behind, but if they get down 2 scores, it's tough for them because they're just not built that way to be able to, rapid fire score the way Kansas City was. So that's my thing, is that I don't necessarily think it's not sustainable. I just think it's more so they're not built to play from behind.
Yeah, I think that's 100% true. So that's all I got. It was an impressive win for the Chiefs, and they always seem to play well in Sunday Night Football, especially, and this was another example of that. So hats off to them. Hats off to Mahomes. He looked like old school Patrick Mahomes, like.
Oh yeah. He's starting to dish it out the way. I mean, his numbers this season have been vastly better than what they were.
Yeah, they're
the past couple seasons. Yeah, they're much better than the last couple seasons where it was a lot of dink and dunks type things. But I guess before we move on, we do have to address it.
Oh yeah,
the post game fight. Brian Branch obviously was frustrated. He goes, he's the Chiefs need the ball. Patrick Mahomes goes to kind of shake his hand. Brian Branch doesn't do it. Juju Smith-Schuster doesn't like that. And then Brian Branch punches Juju Smith-Schuster. Obviously, Juju Smith-Schuster responds. They get into a physical altercation. The whole teams get together. Didn't look like it was necessarily that the teams were brawling themselves.
No,
it was still between Brian Branch and Juju, and Mahomes was trying to break it up too. That's what it seemed like to me. It was most of the teams got together to break up the fight because everyone's like, guys, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
Obviously, it came out Brian Branch will be suspended, and I'm sure he's going to be fined. I don't know if anything came out for Juju yet.
I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen anything whether he will be fined or if there any actions will be taken against him for his involvement in the whole situation. And Brian Branch's reasoning was that the Chiefs were trying to bully him and that the referees weren't making certain calls, that apparently there was an illegal block in the back, which I guess there's a video of, but I haven't seen it yet. To me, it's a despicable act. You had 60 minutes to do something about that, and all that. And after doing that after the game was uncalled for. And the NFL's big thing this year is sportsmanship, so that's why they have suspended him for a game. And then of course you can go back to week 1 where Jalen Carter spits on Dak Prescott and he immediately gets tossed.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And they counted that first game as a suspension because he didn't play a single down. But it's a big emphasis that they put out this year. Class act by Dan Campbell to come out in the press conference and immediately address it and say that, hey, we don't stand for this, and for him to go to apologize to Andy Reid and to Juju Smith-Schuster on behalf of the Lions, and be like, hey, like, this is not what we stand for. I'm positive they will be disciplining Brian Branch. And the problem with Brian Branch is he's got a long history of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties and stuff like this. So he's a hothead. And yeah, it wasn't cool. I understand that you're frustrated. It was a tough loss for you guys, and you felt like you were being picked on and that the referees weren't necessarily calling things your way. But once the whistle blows and the game is over, that's it. We move on. You don't go out and do that. It's a bad example for kids. It was unacceptable, in my opinion, by him. And I'm glad that the NFL suspended him, and I'm sure he will be fined. I'm pretty sure he's already been fined. I just don't know how much it would be, but, Dan, what were your thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah, this to me is just a prime example of just frustration losing a football game, and you could see that. Now, as for his explanation that it had to do with the officiating or whatever, there are much better ways.
Which, by the way, talking about officiating really quick, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of whenever the Chiefs win, it's always the refs. And then everybody nitpicks plays that the refs didn't give, that the refs gave to the Chiefs. But then when you go back and you look at the whole thing in its entirety, it's not as if the Detroit Lions weren't not getting calls.
They didn't benefit. I mean, they benefited from some no calls as well. I'm not going to disagree with that.
It happens in every game. And again, we got, nobody was saying anything about it when we lost last week with 13 penalties. I understand it's an anomaly for them to go from 13 penalties to 0, but the Chiefs did play a pretty clean and good game this week.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But there are better ways to handle that, right? Like you go to the league office, with these issues, you have the evidence there to show, hey, look, there were penalties on blah blah blah, whatever. If Brian,
that's what teams do, right?
Yeah,
They send film to the team, to the league office, and hey, we noticed this, we just want to bring this to your attention. And then obviously the NFL, officiating people, they put out a report being hey, we missed this call, obviously, and it's just a way to, for transparency reasons. We all know officiating sucks in the NFL. We all do. But can we please move on from this whole narrative that the refs are the reason why the Chiefs win?
No,
I'm sick and tired of it. And it's anything, bro. The game doesn't even have to involve the Chiefs. There was I saw a thing about Drake London stepping out of bounds and not reaching the end zone, and the referees not giving it to Drake London, and them being oh, if he was a Kansas City Chief, he would have gotten it. The refs would have given it to him. Or the whole thing with Travis Kelce, he catches the ball, and the ball touches the ground, but he never loses control of it. So therefore it is a catch. Whereas in the Buffalo game, the guy catches it, he drags it on the ground and loses control of it. So it's not a catch. That's the letter. That's the rule. That's the letter of the law. What are we doing here? It's just, it's frustrating. And it's just annoying as a Chiefs fan to constantly see that people just don't want to give your team credit. And I get it. You guys are tired of us succeeding, but we're not winning because of the refs. And I know that whole study came out from UTEP about the Chiefs have gotten favorable calls in the past, since 2020. I can't remember how long the thing was. The report has been for, but
But you could say that
we can't control that.
Really,
we can't control that. We can't control what the refs call and don't call.
Right. They're not sitting there paying the refs. Right? We know that's not happening. So, yeah, this to me was just an example of it's the frustration of the loss spilling over, and it was just a bad look in general. Like you can't do that. Like you said, you had 60 minutes to not only do something, but hey, if you wanted to get physical with a Chiefs player, you had 60 minutes to do it, right? Like you could have done that during the game itself in the moment where you can hit, you can tackle and you can do those types of things. Or even if you wanted to fight during the game, you probably could have. But it's a bad look in general. And like you said, obviously he's got a history of these types of incidents. And I agree with your point about Dan Campbell. I think he, as Dan Campbell always does, he handled it well. He handled it with grace and dignity. And I was just impressed with that, especially for the coach. Most coaches aren't going to come out and be honest right during the post-game press conference, especially after a loss. I feel like John Harbaugh certainly wouldn't stand up there and say what Dan Campbell did. And I don't think most coaches would address it head on like that. So, I thought I was disappointed in Brian Branch for sure. And I thought it was kind of a cheap thing to do. And I think, it is what it is, right? The frustration builds throughout the game. Sometimes it boils over. Sometimes it doesn't. In this stage, it just he waited until the whistle was blown to let it boil over. But it's also kind of a non-story, I think, also. Like, this type of stuff happens. And it's just another one of those types of segments that's going to get a lot of play on your First Takes and your other shows like that sort of thrive on building these narratives, and it kind of, like you said, goes back to the officiating stuff. Again, that conversation comes up all the time, and it's just going to be another example for people to talk about that. So I don't necessarily agree with that. I think, look, 0 penalties in a game is, everyone's going to be suspicious no matter who the team is, because let's face it, they could call holding probably on every single play on any team. So, that alone is.
Look, I'm as impressed as anybody that it was 0 penalties on the Chiefs,
crazy.
But it's not as if like the Lions got like 20 penalties. They got like 4 penalties, and it was for like 32 yards. So they were playing a pretty decently clean game as well.
Right. And this game didn't come down to one play where you point to it and said that it.
Now the Lions, for some reason, want to make it that you make it like that. I believe it's Joseph Kirby.
Detroit.
I think it's Joseph Kirby's or Kirby Joseph, whatever the hell his name is. Is sitting there tweeting out like crazy, talking about all these missed calls from the refs, and how taking away that touchdown at the beginning of the game screwed them over, and they shouldn't have taken it. It was an illegal formation. Jared Goff never got set. Like, I'm sorry, that's what it is. And at the end of the day,
right,
30-17, you guys lost by 13.
Right,
your defense couldn't stop the Kansas City offense.
Right.
I'm sorry. You guys just didn't play as good as people were expecting you to. And I understand you guys had injuries, but I'm sorry. People don't give the Kansas City Chiefs that kind of grace when we don't have our number 1 guy. We didn't have our number 2 guy. We were missing people all of last season. Nobody gave us that grace. So why the hell are we going to give you guys grace over that? The win is the win. And that's how it is. It's not easy to win in the NFL. And just because you're injured and banged up does not diminish the win any less. This isn't college football. Like, again, you don't win by style points, and we kicked your ass like we did. So I'm sorry. Like, it's loser mentality, and when you have that type of mentality, that's why you will never succeed, because at the end of the day, you're not looking at what you did wrong, and that's it. I'm sorry. Like, this is why the Chiefs are the boogeyman, because they're in everybody's head and nobody wants to admit why they're so good.
Well, and this, again, this wasn't a game where a ticky-tack penalty put the ball in the field goal range for the Chiefs to win the game. We're not talking about any of that. This was a game that was clearly decided, halfway through the fourth quarter, it was pretty much decided. So it just boils down to that. And I think, like you said, like, when you're a team like the Chiefs that has been so stuck in everyone's minds and things like that, this is just going to happen, and this is going to continue to happen. So I get your frustration and where you're coming from, but unfortunately, I don't think it's ever going to change or go away until the Chiefs' dominance
until the dynasty's over. Until the dynasty's over, it's going to be like this. So
yeah. So anyway, that's sort of it.
Yeah. So Chiefs 30, Lions 17, Kansas City's 3-3 heading into Sunday against the Raiders and the Lions. They play we have them on the pick'ems. My goodness. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Detroit. Yep. So, all right, with that, we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we get to talk about Kirby's
commies,
ill-fated Commanders. And we might have a special cameo. So we'll be right back.
The Cider House is now open on East Piccadilly Street in downtown Winchester. The Cider House is open starting at noon Wednesday to Sunday. Stop in for a wide variety of ciders on draft, as well as 4 Virginia beers, wine, and ready-to-drink canned cocktails. Don't miss our lunch specials featuring our house salad. We also have dinner specials too. Stop in today at the Cider House, located on Piccadilly Street in downtown Winchester.
Fall is here, and New Look Landscaping has everything your home needs to look its best. Brighten your yard with colorful mums available now. And don't forget, New Look offers professional power washing to give your home a fresh, clean look. Call New Look Landscaping today at 540-327-1244 or email them 2025.nullook@gmail.com.
And welcome back to this Good to Average podcast, the Kirby on Sports podcast, episode 232. Somehow, some way, we made it to 232 episodes. I still don't understand how, but we have. All right. I guess I got to introduce the game first. The Washington Commanders fall to the Chicago Bears 25-24. We have thoughts and opinions that we will share after Kirby shares his own. But first, we got to play it.
Attention, loyal listeners of the Kirby on Sports podcast. The following segment contains high levels of Kirby brand whining, complaining, and possible overreaction to sports-related events. We'd like to take a moment to apologize, but let's be real. You already know what you signed up for. While we strive to bring you balanced and informative commentary, sometimes the passion overflows. Please enjoy the upcoming segment responsibly. Thank you for your patience and continued support. Kirby's Complaint Corner begins now.
Chicago Bears over the Washington Commanders, a game-winning field goal by Jake Moody, signed from the practice squad that day. Welcome in. I'm Josh Kirby, doing things a little bit differently. Thanks to Dan and Carlos for the rest of the show as well. If Carlos wants to add the Kirby's Complaint Corner video to this, I will understand, but the Chicago Bears over the Washington Commanders 25-24. Let's just dive right into this. I'm just going to keep it brief, simple, in just my thoughts, and then Dan and Carlos can talk more about it as they wish. This was a storied matchup of the week, because they keep going back to last year. The Hail Mary, the Commanders were down, Jaden Daniels tip pass, and it goes to Noah Brown, obviously. So I will say that these two teams have sparked a really big rivalry over the years, the past 3 seasons, I think. That's just in my mind. And this was a competitive football game, let's say, a 1-point loss for the Commanders, the Chicago Bears, with a game-winning field goal. Starting off, the Commanders, obviously, they kick off to start. Bears drive down, get a field goal. First and foremost, I feel like the Bears were very effective when it came to their running game. DeAndre Swift looked very good in the Commanders' secondary and defensive line, just in my opinion, did not generate enough pressure to get the job done when it came to the Chicago Bears and their rushing offense. So that stood out. Secondary at times faltered as Caleb Williams did make some big plays in big moments in terms of just getting receivers on those chunk yardage and obviously DeAndre Swift going in for that a long touchdown, 55 yards. That was a short pass, and just two defenders for Washington whiffed on him pretty much. It was not able to make the tackle. So you got to give credit to the Chicago Bears because, they were really fighting hard. And I will preface that by saying the Bears shot themselves in the foot a lot in this game. And at times, the Commanders' defensive line did step up and play good quality football, forcing pressure on Caleb Williams and getting some sacks from time to time. But Chicago, they do have weapons. In this game, could have been a greater margin than 1 point. You had Roma Dunze catching a touchdown pass that got negated because Chicago lined up in an illegal formation. In credit to Washington's defense for holding them to just a field goal there. But still, it was not enough to get the job done. So Washington's first drive, they're driving. Obviously, injuries. Noah Brown, Terry McLaurin is out. They have Chris Moore, who caught a touchdown pass, Zach Ertz, who was targeted a lot in this game, Luke McCaffrey, who also had a touchdown pass, and Jalen Lane. So, Jalen had some weapons to work with, not just the name brand Terry McLaurin, who got signed to a big contract. But first drive going down the field and underthrows Debo a little bit on a route in the red zone or maybe just outside of the red zone, and the Bears come away with a turnover. So that's number one. I feel like if the Commanders were to have capitalized with a touchdown on that first drive, it would have been a lot better off. But that's a mistake, Jaden. He just underthrew it, saw Debo there, and that defender for Chicago was able to come up with a good play. So that Bill Krosky merit, 2 fumbles. Excuse me, 1 fumble, I will say. And I'll tell you why. The first fumble, obviously, just a Bears player just punched it out. So that's 2 turnovers. And my key with this game entirely, and this is just plain and simple. Anybody will say this. Anybody knows this. If you lose the turnover battle, and the opponent's able to capitalize on points, you have no business winning the football game. And that was case and point in this matchup. The third turnover, towards the end of the game, the Commanders up by 2. And the Bears trying to go for it after scoring a touchdown. They fail on the 2-point conversion. Washington could just as easily milk this clock down and maybe get a victory. In the pistol formation, Jaden Daniels sort of lets go of the ball, not able to get it to Bill Krosky Merritt. And there were wet conditions, but at the same time, these are pro athletes. The conditions should not matter in this situation. I think that fumble was on Jaden Daniels, and he took responsibility in the post-game press conference. And, that's just something that cost them the game. The Bears were able to drive down, kick a game-winning field goal. Jake Moody was pretty much perfect except for that blocked field goal later on in the game. That was a huge turning point for the Washington Commanders as well. But Commanders, Matt Gay, not a great night, a 1 field goal that hit off the left upright. So, special teams might be something to work on. I'm curious to see if they address running back, to see if they still give confidence in Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a.k.a. Bill, because, he rushed the ball and was doing some great things with 61 yards, but, you got to address it. If you can't take care of the football, you have to take care of the football, and that's not what happened in this game. Yeah, but again, going back to defense one more time, Washington's defense, they need some work. They need a lot of work. I'm not really sure what to pinpoint it, however, but something's got to give, man. And the injuries, too, that does not help. So this is a really big stretch for the Washington Commanders, and I'm sure we'll touch on this later on down the road on the podcast. But for the time being, the Commanders fall to the Bears 25-24. Later in the game, I feel like Dan Quinn sort of misused the timeouts as Chicago was trying to set up for a game-winning field goal. You could have pocketed one, tried to ice the kicker, but I just feel like using 3 timeouts with like a minute and a half left on the clock. Let the clock run down a little bit more. And if Chicago wants to use their timeouts to get into field goal range, yeah, but then you have opportunities to try to stall the game, get your team set, or if they score, you get a chance to get down for another drive, which did not happen. So, it's just a game you can't win when you have 3 turnovers, and it went to show in this football game. It's going to be a huge stretch for the Commanders. They have the Cowboys next week on the road. So a very tough stretch coming up for this Commanders team. It's going to be the Cowboys, obviously, for 425, and then from there, it's even tough. If I pull up the Commanders' schedule, one second here. So it's the Cowboys, then the Chiefs on Monday night again at Arrowhead Stadium, Seahawks, Lions, then overseas to play the Dolphins. So this is a huge testament to this team, how they're going to come out and perform in these next 5 games. So a loss like this, it's got to just get behind them, and they got to work to the next game. But Commanders fall to the Bears 25-24. It was disappointing. Obviously, you can't have 3 turnovers, but it is what it is. And move on, forgive, forget, and try to go out better next week and see how it goes from there. Those are my thoughts. The Washington Commanders falling to the Chicago Bears on the Kirby on Sports podcast. Huge thanks to everybody for checking us out. As always, many thanks to our supporters, our listeners, and all of our sponsors. Now let's send it back to Dan and Carlos for the rest of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Gents, take it away.
Brother, that was so long. I turned into a skeleton.
I love it. The second I saw it, I'm like, I'm gonna love this bit. Let's go.
Uh-oh.
Lost his head.
He's losing his head. He's losing his mind. I gotta set that all back up.
He must be a Ravens fan after.
Oh man. Dan, you got any thoughts on this game?
Here's the thing. A lot of the issues he talked about are things we've discussed so many times before. The biggest one being Washington's defense, especially their secondary, is a big weakness and continues to be that. Caleb Williams has had his struggles throughout his NFL career, but he threw for over 250 yards against this secondary, and really, with relative ease, I think, more than anything else. He talked about the struggles in the run game on the offensive side of the ball for the Commanders. I thought he touched on that pretty well. They don't seem to have a true number 1 back right now. I think Krosky-Merritt can be that guy, but he wasn't in this game with just 61 rushing yards. And yeah, I think in general, like all the things he touched on are, I mean, they make a lot of sense. Obviously, the turnovers and stuff like that are a big concern. So I don't have a ton to add to what he said. I feel like he covered it very in depth, and this was a game for the Commanders that I felt like was a winnable matchup for them. Playing a Bears team that was coming into this game 2-2 and trying to kind of find where they're at, and an unfortunate loss. I thought Jaden Daniels played pretty well, all things considered. He did have the interception, which was, obviously proved costly in this game. But I think overall the Commanders will be fine. But I don't have much to add to what Kirby said. I felt like he pretty much went as far in depth as you can go on one game and one team. So.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 10-minute video. So, yeah, there's not much more for me to add. It was, tough loss. I mean, you only lost by 1 point. He's, of course, being doom and gloom as he always is.
Always.
You're playing the Dallas Cowboys, who, yeah, they have a red hot, they're playing the Dallas Cowboys this week. Not that they just played the Dallas Cowboys, who have a red hot offense, but their defense is terrible. And I would say the same thing about the Commanders defense. The Commanders defense is old, man. They're old and they're kind of washed up. I mean, Lattimore's getting cooked left and right still. I mean, it's really bad.
Bad defense. Yeah.
And I just, there's not much for me to add. He kind of went into it. Obviously, he's the Commanders fan. I didn't really pay too much attention to this game, honestly. It just wasn't on my docket.
Yeah. Understandable.
But, it was a good win by the Bears to kind of hang in there and go for it. And, Caleb Williams, even though Troy Aikman seems to absolutely hate his guts for some reason.
He really does. He has like a vengeance against the guy.
He's really not a Caleb Williams believer.
I'm not either, but I don't hate the guy. I don't hate the guy at all.
Yeah, I don't hate the guy. I think he's been put in a very bad spot. Being in Chicago, I mean, going from Eberflus as your coach, and then having another coach, and then now you get Ben Johnson. We'll finally get to see, Ben Johnson's system is starting to take hold here. So we're gonna see how he does. Obviously, you see Jaden Daniels already went to an NFC Championship game. You see Drake May is improving leaps and bounds under Vrabel. Yep. He needs to continue showing this growth, which he is. And I understand some of Troy Aikman's frustrations with Caleb Williams. I mean, a lot of the chaos that happens is self-inflicted that Caleb Williams creates himself. I'm just gonna, there's not much for me to say on this game. I think the Commanders are in a tough spot. They really are. Their schedule's not easy.
Yeah.
They got the game against the Cowboys, which is winnable.
That was kind of a must-win game for them.
Yeah.
Looking at the rest of their schedules.
I mean, this Dallas game has become a must-win. They have to win it because they're coming to Arrowhead. We got the three-man booth Civil War Part 2 coming up next Monday. Not next Monday, in a couple weeks, basically. There's a lot. There's a lot that's going wrong for the Commanders, but Kirby sometimes has to subvert his expectations of this team. I understand they made it to the NFC Championship game, but again, success isn't always going to be that. Success is okay. What does it look like post that? I don't think the Commanders have necessarily looked terrible. I mean, again, they lost Jaden Daniels. Terry McLaurin has been injured. And you guys just have an old defense. Like, what are you going to do? You guys got to get younger on defense.
It's not a Super Bowl roster.
Absolutely not.
It's not a Super Bowl roster.
And I think last year was just an anomaly. Realistically, this team is a wild card team.
Yep.
Who can make it to the divisional, and they just caught fire at the right time last season. And I think that's the problem with Kirby and with most Commanders fans is you guys let it get to your head. You guys let it get, and you're like, oh, Super Bowl this year. We made it to the NFC Championship. Like, guys, that's not. This team wasn't like, it was a miracle. Nobody had them going that far last year to the NFC Championship game. And this year, you guys are playing way tougher opponents. And
because of that, the season they had last
year. Yeah. And again, the defense just is not good. It's just not good. And it's not because of it's not like a scheme or whatever. Dan Quinn's a great defensive coach. We've seen, we know it. It's the personnel, it's the players. They're old, they're washed. Like I said, Lattimore's getting cooked. You have Von Miller on this team. Bobby Wagner's your starting, middle linebacker. Exactly. I mean, Bobby Wagner hasn't really been relevant since 2018, I want to say.
Yeah, it's been like 6 years.
So with all that being said, I mean, tough, brutal loss, but you just got to figure out where your expectations lie. You can't get too high.
Tamper the expectations. I say that for all Commanders fans, because like you said, I mean, you nailed it. Like to make it back to a title game, a conference title game is extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just being successful year in, year out. I mean, again, Dallas hasn't been there in 30 years.
Right.
I think the problem is that New England, obviously for a stretch there, Kansas City here recently, they make it look easy, but it's not easy. It takes a while to implement that culture. It's not as if Andy Reid came into Kansas City and he immediately flipped. He took years to implement the culture, and then he had to get the right players. He had to get Patrick Mahomes and develop Mahomes for a year for him to be where he's at today. And I think that's something that, the Commanders fans have to understand is that, like, hey, yes, you made it to the NFC Championship game year one, but it's not going to always be that way. So, good win by the Bears. I got nothing else. So, all right. With that being said, that about does it for this segment. Where we talked about our teams. I guess we called it the home field report. I don't remember what we even called these segments anymore.
Home field report.
We're going to take our final break. And when we come back, we're going to talk the best segment of this show, the Kirby on Sports PickEms.
Are you looking to take the final steps in order to get your driver's license? Look no further. On the Road Driving School offers teen and adult driving, along with classroom sessions for teens and adults, DMV re-exam classes, and driver improvement classes. On the Road Driving School has what you need in order to get on the road. Contact them today at 540-869-6105. That's On the Road Driving School. 540-869-6105. On the Road Driving School will get you on the road.
It's Jason, General Manager at Shenandoah Music, here to tell you all about...
Jay, what are you doing here?
Well, Matt, I'm trying to tell the people about our selection of guitars, basses, keyboards, drum sets.
I know that, but I always do the radio spots.
You get to have all the fun. I want to tell everyone about our huge selection, unbeatable prices, unmatched service, and in-depth knowledge.
Jay, I really don't think now is the time to discuss.
So remember, folks, when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester.
That's my line.
All right, welcome back to episode 232 of the Kirby. Rookie mistakes happening here left and right.
No, don't say that.
Episode 232 of the Kirby on Sports podcast, and now we have arrived to America's favorite segment. It's from this good to average podcast, the Kirby on Sports PickEms. And boom, there it is.
Looks good over here. Okay.
All right, week 7. Here we go. Some interesting developments. Don't
remind me.
I have tied Josh Kirby in the Pick'ems once again, going for my throne and trying desperately to win a 4th belt so I can retire from beating these jabronis left and right. The current standings are me and Kirby are tied for first place at 21-14, and Dan had an abysmal week, and he sits at 19-16. He's only 2 games out. It's not like he's like falling behind. But
what was my record this past week? I missed that again.
I believe it was 2-4. It was not a great week for you. If memory serves me correct, let me just double check that. Actually, wrong. You were 3-3.
Oh,
So you went 500, but terrible. It was a brutal week because it was like the first couple games you were just like, it was just down straight up losses. And it was like, oh, Dan's not having a great time right now.
Yeah.
And then I went 4-2. Obviously the Bills and the Commanders let me down on Monday night. I could have had a perfect week. The perfect week was staring me in the face and both teams dropped the ball on me. And then Kirby went LLWW. He went 3-3 as well. So you and Kirby went 3-3, and I went
2 games apart. Yep.
Yeah, and I went 4-2. Wow. So,
you did 1 game better than me and Kirby.
1 game better, but the games that I picked got me where I needed to go, and I am now tied with Josh Kirby. Who
scary thought.
You know, dude, like I'm saying, if I win 4 years in a row, I mean, there's a reason why we try to keep him humble. It's not over yet, though. I mean, it's still early. It's still early. We're only in week 7. We're
10 more weeks. Yep.
Yeah, we still, we're not even at the halfway point just yet of the season, but we're getting there. It's kind of hard to believe that we're already in week 7. We're already almost 2 months into the season.
It's totally nuts.
That hurts my soul just knowing that how fast football season goes. But anyway, so the games we will be picking this week are, and yes, Dan, yes, this time I did it correctly. All the home teams are on the left and all the away teams are on the right. So yes, we will be doing Detroit versus Tampa Bay. We'll be picking the Chargers against the Colts, the Vikings against the Eagles, the Cowboys against the Commanders, the Cardinals against the Packers, and the Jaguars against the Rams. I will go first as always because I am your three-time Pick'em's champion.
Yep.
I'm going to take the Detroit Lions over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I understand Detroit is obviously coming off of that tough loss against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are dealing with a lot of injuries in their secondary, but Tampa Bay is coming to Detroit, so this game will be in Detroit. And Tampa Bay is dealing with a lot of offensive injuries. They will not have, it doesn't look like they're going to have Mike Evans. They're not going to have Chris Godwin, and Mbuka is hurt as well. So their top 3 receiving options, done. They're missing they're going to be missing their running back. What is his name? Bucky Irving. Yep. They're going to be missing him. And I just think that's a lot for Baker to overcome, even though he's playing at a super high level right now. He's my MVP favorite at the moment. I know Vegas has Mahomes. I'm so impressed with how Baker's been playing. I think he's playing in God mode right now. But I just think this is going to be too much to overcome. I could be wrong. It was a toss-up here because of the injuries on both sides. But I think given that it's at Detroit, and given because of how Detroit lost the game to Kansas City, they're going to want to come out and make a statement, just like how they did after they lost to the Green Bay Packers. By the way, first week in the Pick'ems, we don't have the Kansas City Chiefs on there. It's a miracle.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God for me. There's a pick that I'm not handicapped to already make. So I will take the Colts over the Chargers. This one was also really tough because Colts haven't, despite being 5-1, they haven't really beaten anybody. And obviously they played the Rams and they lost to the Rams. And they played it close. But it was really hard for me to make this pick because I do like what I'm seeing from the Chargers, but they did struggle to beat Miami, which is a cause for concern. They're dealing with a lot of injuries right now. This isn't the Chargers at full power. If the Chargers weren't dealing with so many injuries, I would probably pick them, but I think the Colts right now are playing phenomenal, and I think they're going to get their first major win here. I'm going to take the Vikings over the Eagles. I think the Eagles are just in a weird funk right now, and I don't think it gets better going into Minnesota. Minnesota's defense is great. Their offense is questionable. Carson Wentz obviously playing against his former team, but I think because of the talent that they have, they might get it figured out. And I just think the Eagles are going to have a hard time figuring out anything because I think there's just a lot of issues there. So I'm going to take the Vikings. I'm the only person taking the Vikings, by the way. I'm going to take the Cowboys over the Commanders. I just think that this is going to be a shootout. Just because both defenses are horrid, and I think it's going to come down to who gets the ball last. And I think the Cowboys will win it because of that, because I think Dak Prescott is playing at an elite level right now.
He is playing well.
And Pickens is playing great. It's just going to – I don't know if CD will be back for this game yet, but I'd like the Cowboys. Also, they're going to be wearing their Arctic white uniforms for this game. So I made sure that the helmet was that helmet too. I'm going to take the Packers over the Cardinals. The Cardinals actually looked a lot better with Jacoby Brissett over Kyler Murray.
Isn't that sad? Yeah.
It's just Kyler Murray. Just again, I just don't believe in Kyler Murray. He's just
I don't believe in Kyler Murray.
I don't believe in him.
Doesn't really work.
But I do believe in the Green Bay Packers, and I think that they're going to get the job done in Arizona. And then I'm going to take the Rams over the Cardinals. Wow. Over the Jaguars. Obviously, Puka Nacua is hurt. We're not sure, but they still have Devontae Adams. And I just think they'll figure it out. I mean, Jacksonville really struggled against the Seahawks. So that's going to be interesting to see if they can rebound. It is in Jacksonville again. So we'll see how they do with the Rams coming into No, I'm sorry. It's not Jacksonville. This is in London. This is the London game. Ooh.
That's like a second home.
Yeah, that's the second. They're used to playing over there. So obviously the Rams stayed in Baltimore and are practicing in Camden Yards.
You can't change your pick. Sorry.
I'm not changing it. I'm still sticking with the Rams, but
they're both 4-2.
I forgot to factor that in. So
yeah, me too.
But anyway, so those are my picks. Do you want me to go over Kirby's or do you want to go over Kirby's?
Oh, you can go ahead and do Kirby's real quick.
Okay, so Kirby's going to take the Buccaneers because he rides or dies for Baker Mayfield no matter what. He's going to take the Colts because he just wanted to take the Colts. He's going to take the Eagles because he secretly wants to be an Eagles fan. He's going to take the Commanders because he's contractually obligated. He's going to take the Packers because, again, if he was a spice, he'd be flour, and there's no variety to him. And he's going to take the Rams because cream cheese takes the Rams.
Wow,
and with that, I will throw it over to my esteemed co-host, the Josh Allen to my Patrick Mahomes. This podcast is favorite number 2, who is unfortunately in the Kirby zone right now, Dan Demski.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thanks for the introduction to the Kirby zone. Although I've been here before, I usually climb out of it. So I think this could be a week where I do just that. As I will take the Detroit Lions over the Tampa Bay Bucks. As Carlos alluded to, the Bucks have a ton of injuries right now, especially on offense. And I just feel like the Lions are going to be, looking to avenge their loss this past Sunday. And I think they will get the job done at home against the Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Colts over the Chargers. I really love the way the Colts are playing right now. They seem to have answered every challenge against every opponent so far, then checked all the boxes, especially the way Daniel Jones has played has been unbelievable.
Good old Indiana Jones.
It's amazing the difference that a team can make, and he has played out of his mind. So I'm going to take the Colts. I think they stay hot here on the road in California. I think they will get the job done. I will take the Eagles over the Vikings. I think the Eagles need this win, quite frankly, more than the Vikings. And I think the Eagles need a win where they come out and they put it all together. They haven't really had a game this year, I felt, yet where they've done that. And so I think this is a game for them to do that. I still think this game will obviously be close, but I think the Eagles need a game, again, where they put all three phases together, they get a good win, and they're able to get back in, people talking about them once again as a contender. I will take the Cowboys over the Commanders. This was a game I kind of went back and forth on just because historically when these two teams play, it's just a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get, quite frankly, regardless of the records, regardless of any prerequisite really with these two teams playing. But I really like, Carlos alluded to it, the way Dak has played, the way this offense has played for Dallas has been just exceptional right now. I think they're going to just, quite frankly, destroy this Commanders defense. And I think on the other side of the ball, similarly, I think the Commanders will have an easier time than usual against a struggling Cowboys defense as well. But I do think that Dak will end up making the play that gives the Cowboys this win or gets them in position to win this football game. And I think they will get the dub there. I will take the Packers over the Cardinals. This was kind of an easy one to pick. I think the Cardinals are just struggling right now, and that really have not impressed me at all this season. And I think Green Bay. I kind of like Green Bay more, and I think right now Jordan Love has played pretty good football, pretty mistake-free football, and I think that continues in this game against a Cardinals defense that struggles mightily. And then lastly, I will take the Rams over the Jags. We forgot this was the game in London, which, as Carlos and I discussed, is like a second home for the Jags. But I just really like the way the Rams are playing right now, especially defensively. I think their pass rush has been really solid all season, and I think they will. The pressure on Trevor Lawrence, I think, will end up making a difference in this game, whether it results in a sack or a turnover that ends up putting the momentum and all that on the side of the LA Rams. So with that, those are my picks, and that is Week 7 of your NFL Pick'em, America's favorite segment. And with that, I will throw it back to the host, the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez.
So a little history here.
Yeah.
At this point, oh man, we are this point last year, Dan, you were in first place at 24-12.
Oh my gosh.
A 4-game switch. And then me and Kirby were tied at 22-14. We're obviously off by a game because of the fact of the tie that happened between Dallas and Green Bay. So our numbers are always going to be off. But pretty much me and Kirby are in the same spot, and you have completely collapsed for some reason compared to last year.
Yeah,
now
it's been tough for fantasy football, and it's been tough for the pick'ems for me this year.
And it's been tough for the Ravens for you. It just might be one of this. It just might be that year where you're finally where you're going to finish in last place, and Kirby's going to make it out of the Kirby zone, or you just never know. There's a lot left. We still have a lot more.
I'm 2 games out. Anything can happen.
I mean, you're right. So something that I did want to throw out there, with you and Kirby. Obviously, Kirby's not here. He's too busy taking selfies. But something that I wanted to discuss with you guys is the potential of trying to make up that game by having it be a wild card game for each and every one of us for either one of these weeks coming up, where we all individually pick a single game that's not on the pick'ems.
Okay.
And then that determines if we get the point or not. Like, we pick the winner of that game, but we're the only ones who gets that game. So, like, for example, like I would, like, if I picked Chiefs Raiders this week, I'd be the only one picking that game. And then you would pick I don't know what else is on the docket this week.
Falcons and 49ers.
Yeah. Falcons, 49ers. And then Kirby picks Panthers, Jets. I don't know if that's this week actually. But let's say it's something like that. I think that would be a good idea to try to make up for that game that we lost. In the tie.
I think that's a good idea. I'm on board with that. I will obviously talk to Kirby and see what he thinks, but I like that idea to get us back to square and even where we were this time last year.
Yeah, because I'm hating this whole like missing a game thing. So I was brainstorming it. And so
really smart.
So yeah, like Dan said, those are the pick'ems from this from America's favorite segment, from this Good to Average podcast. With that, we are gonna sign off here. Dan, this was a blast. Any last words?
I'm just saying, I think it runs smoother. No, I'm just kidding. No, this
we went pretty long, honestly.
We did go.
It doesn't help that Kirby had a 10-minute cameo.
Mm-hmm. This is a good cameo. No, yeah, this was another fun episode, another great week. Obviously, sad Kirby couldn't be here. Hopefully next week we can get the 3-man.
Yeah, hopefully next week we get the
again.
crew back together.
Yes. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm rooting for going into next week. But Carlos, well done. Great job.
Appreciate it. And of course, we will be doing 2 live streams on Sunday. We will be doing Chiefs Raiders. And then we will also be doing Cowboys Commanders. Now, whether Kirby's got the balls to show up to that one, I don't think he does. I threw the offer out to him and he never responded. So I'm going to have to bash him about that here in a second once we get off of here. So we'll see. But either way, we will be live for 2 games on Sunday. Join us there, or join me there. And come see our new score bug, because that's all you need to see, honestly.
So good.
So with that, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Frederick County Parks and Recreation, who is the title sponsor of the Kirby on Sports podcast, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett Pest and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, Shenandoah Music, Icon Media, On the Road Driving School, New Look Landscaping, The Cider House, Barry Pearson at Equipment Share Advanced Solutions. For any equipment rental needs, please contact Barry Pearson at 540-935-1069. And of course, Don't Sleep Energy, the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Use promo code KOS podcast for 12% off your order every single time. You can get it at www.don'tsleepenergy.com or on Amazon. And yeah, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, we bid you adieu, and we will see you next time on the Kirby on Sports podcast.